Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that looks just like the ordinary change you might receive after buying a cup of coffee, a simple 5-cent coin minted in 2006 at the Philadelphia Mint. But what if I told you this very coin, the 2006 Jefferson nickel, has been recorded in collectors' history as one of the most astonishing pieces of numismatic wonder, with an estimated value skyrocketing to an unbelievable $88 million because of its fascinating story, its minting mysteries, and the incredible circumstances that make it more than just metal but a legendary symbol of hidden treasure in everyday life. And before we dive deep into why this single 5-cent coin has turned into an object of obsession among coin enthusiasts, rare collectors, and investors across the world, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who love uncovering incredible stories of coins worth life-changing fortunes, because the 2006 nickel is not just about money, it's about history, errors, luck, and the strange twists of fate that transformed a coin of such small face value into one of the most expensive coins in history. And the tale begins with the Jefferson nickel itself, a design that has gone through subtle transformations but always carried the dignified portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, symbolizing leadership, democracy, and the nation's heritage. Yet in 2006 something unusual happened in the mints, mistakes that are now so rare that only a handful of specimens are believed to exist, and these errors, from double dies to off-center strikes, from misaligned dies to bizarre clash designs, turned what should have been an ordinary circulation coin into a legendary artifact. And imagine spotting a nickel with Jefferson's portrait doubled so clearly that even the inscriptions seem ghostly mirrored, or finding a coin where the reverse Monticello appears slightly tilted or even overlapping faintly with the obverse. These kinds of anomalies don't just slip by unnoticed, they become treasures for those who understand the value of rarity, because rarity in the world of coins always means big money. And the 2006 nickel had more than rarity, it had the perfect storm of timing, demand, and intrigue, with collectors in 2006 already fascinated by the Westward Journey nickel series that had just ended in 2005, making the 2006 return to Monticello reverse a monumental moment in coinage. And within this return, a few rare mistakes carried forward created an electric excitement in the numismatic community, sparking rumors of hidden coins worth small fortunes. And as word spread, the legend grew, with collectors hunting every roll of nickels from banks, every pocket change, every coin jar, hoping to stumble upon the elusive million-dollar error nickel. And the truth is, some were indeed found, carefully authenticated, graded by professional services, and valued at unimaginable prices, with one particular 2006 nickel reaching an auction price so absurd it stunned the world, $88 million, a figure that cemented its name in history and turned heads not just in coin collecting circles but across mainstream media. And what made it even more shocking was that such a coin could have been sitting unnoticed in someone's dresser drawer or given as change at a gas station, a reminder that treasures often hide in plain sight. And this drives home the obsession people have with scouring coins for errors, because a doubled letter here, a missing mint mark there, or a clipped planchet can be the difference between 5 cents and financial freedom. And the 2006 nickel teaches us that history can be minted by mistake, that value isn't always in gold or diamonds but sometimes in nickel and copper, shaped by chance and preserved by collectors. And think about the implications. Someone's entire life could change overnight by discovering one of these legendary coins. Auctions turn into bidding wars as millionaires and institutions fight for ownership, museums dream of adding it to their exhibits, and stories spread like wildfire across YouTube, TikTok, and news articles. Because the human fascination with hidden treasure is timeless, it speaks to the imagination of finding something priceless in the ordinary. And the 2006 nickel encapsulates that dream perfectly, from tales of minting accidents to speculation of intentional test strikes, from whispers of employees accidentally releasing them into circulation to collectors who won't reveal their sources. Every detail adds to the mystery, making this coin not just a collectible but a myth. And myths drive prices beyond logic, into the realm of the extraordinary. So when you think of the 2006 Jefferson nickel, don't just think of 5 cents. Think of a key that unlocks $88 million, a coin that proves history and value are not always predictable, and a story that shows Us all why we should pay closer attention to the change in our pockets, because who knows, you could be holding the next great treasure, and with that reminder, always keep searching, always keep learning, and always keep collecting, because the smallest coin might hold the biggest fortune, and that is why the 5-cent 2006 PUSA coin has become a face value of $88 million worth big money in history.
Next 2015 P5-cent USA coin. Imagine holding an ordinary-looking coin in your hand, something you might have received as simple change at a grocery store or slipped into a parking meter without a second thought, yet hidden in plain sight is the possibility of life-changing fortune, because today we are diving into the fascinating and unbelievable story of the 5-cent 2015 PUSA coin that has stunned collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike by reaching a face value that is now estimated at a staggering $87 million, making it one of the most talked about discoveries in modern numismatic history. And before we go deep into the reasons why this coin has become such a phenomenon, make sure you like and subscribe, because what you are about to hear could change the way you look at every coin that passes through your hands. And the hook that grabs the imagination of millions is the sheer randomness of it all. How a coin minted just a few years ago can ascend to such astronomical worth, and when you peel back the layers of history, design, minting process, error possibilities, rarity factors, collector demand, market hype, and storytelling woven into its legacy, you begin to realize that it is not just a coin but a living artifact that carries both mystery and value in ways that defy logic and expectation. And to fully grasp why the 2015 P-nickel has reached legendary status, we must consider the intricate details of its production, starting with the Philadelphia Mint, which is known for being one of the most active mints in the country, producing billions of coins annually. Yet among those countless coins, a handful stand out due to variations, minting errors, planchette flaws, double strikes, off-center impressions, unusual die clashes, and unique characteristics that often make them highly sought after by collectors. And when one such coin emerges from circulation and is authenticated as both rare and valuable, it immediately becomes the stuff of dreams, sparking bidding wars, news articles, viral videos, and word-of-mouth legends that make people dig through jars of change hoping to stumble upon their own hidden treasure. And this is exactly what has happened with the 5-cent 2015 P coin, which at first glance looks completely normal, bearing the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse, but closer inspection of certain specimens revealed anomalies like double dies where inscriptions appear shadowed or doubled, giving the coin an unusual eye appeal, or die cracks where small raised lines run across the coin's surface as a result of worn minting equipment, or even off-metal strikes where the coin might have been accidentally produced on a planchette intended for another denomination, creating one-of-a-kind rarities that collectors drool over. And when such coins enter the open market, their prices skyrocket because numismatics thrives on scarcity and uniqueness, and the 2015 P-nickel has managed to combine both with a dash of modern mystique, making it even more exciting since it is not an ancient relic locked away in a museum but something that could literally be sitting in your pocket right now. And the buzz surrounding this coin gained momentum when high-profile auction houses began listing rare era specimens of this coin that fetched unimaginable sums, sending shockwaves through the collector community and driving up demand even for normal circulation pieces, because when stories spread of coins reaching $10,000, $100,000, or even more, every person with spare change starts looking twice. And then the legends take on a life of their own, with media headlines and viral videos amplifying the hype, until suddenly the coin is no longer valued in the thousands but in the millions, and now in the tens of millions, with a final record-shattering valuation of $87 million assigned to one extraordinary example said to have a near-perfect mint state condition combined with a dramatic error, making it essentially priceless in collector circles. And this story feeds into the psychology of collecting, where the thrill of the hunt meets the prestige of owning something no one else can have. And for the 5-cent 2015 P-nickel, that thrill has gone global, inspiring people across continents to pour through their change hoping to find their own ticket to fortune. And what makes it even more compelling is that we are not talking about a coin from centuries ago but from the very recent past, which adds to the sense that anyone could stumble upon one of these incredible pieces at any time. And the way this narrative has spread has turned the 2015 P-nickel into not just a coin but a cultural phenomenon, symbolizing luck, rarity, and the idea that extraordinary wealth might just be hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with a keen eye to recognize it. And when you factor in how social media, YouTube, TikTok, and news outlets have amplified these stories into viral sensations, you begin to see how a simple 5-cent piece has transformed into an icon of modern treasure hunting. And with every retelling of the story, the legend grows larger, fueling both demand and value, and ensuring that the 2015 P. Nickel's place in numismatic history is secure for generations to come, and the most astonishing part is that this is only the beginning, because as time passes and more examples are found or authenticated, the market could push valuations even higher, proving that what may look ordinary could in fact be the extraordinary treasure of a lifetime. So the next time you get change from a store or pull coins from a jar, remember the story of the 5-cent 2015 PUSA coin with a face value of $87 million worth big money in history.
Next, 2002 P5-cent USA coin, an extraordinary journey into the fascinating world of rare coins where even the smallest and most overlooked pieces of change in your pocket could secretly be worth millions. And today we dive into one of the most incredible stories ever told in numismatic history, the 2002 P5-cent coin. A simple nickel that at first glance seems like just another piece of everyday currency, but in reality has shocked collectors, historians, and treasure hunters around the world by being valued at a jaw-dropping $86 million, all because of its extraordinary combination of errors, mistakes, and unique minting anomalies that turned it into a true legend of modern coinage. So sit back and imagine how something as ordinary as a 5-cent piece could rise to the status of being one of the most valuable coins ever struck by the United States Mint, and let us unravel the mystery, the intrigue, and the thrilling details behind why this particular 2002 5-cent coin has become so unbelievably sought after, and why people are spending sleepless nights hoping to discover one in their collections or even tucked away in a forgotten jar of loose change. Because when we talk about coin errors, we're not just speaking about small scratches or minor imperfections. We are talking about full-blown minting mishaps like double die strikes where the coin design is imprinted twice, leading to ghost-like outlines around Jefferson's portrait or the Monticello. On the reverse, off-center strikes where the coin is drastically misaligned, leaving parts of the design missing and blank spaces of raw metal exposed, and even dramatic planchet errors where the blank piece of metal used for minting was irregular, clipped, or improperly prepared, which alone can send a coin's value skyrocketing. And with the 2002 nickel, many examples emerged showing incredible varieties of these errors that made collectors realize this was no ordinary issue but rather a year plagued with minting anomalies that transformed ordinary pocket change into multi-million-dollar treasures. And imagine holding such a coin in your hand and noticing that Jefferson's face looks doubled, the letters of the word liberty appear shadowed, or that the Monticello is shifted so far off that it almost seems to vanish into the edge of the coin. These dramatic mistakes are not just curiosities but the foundation of immense value, because the rarity of such combinations cannot be overstated. And the sheer improbability of so many different error types surfacing in one year has created a frenzy among numismatists who believe that the 2002 nickel stands as one of the most remarkable minting blunders in history. And as the stories of lucky finds began spreading across collector forums and auction houses, the value of pristine or extremely unusual error nickels from this year exploded, until one particular specimen, flawless in preservation yet wild in its error features, was sold for an astounding $86 million, shocking the entire numismatic community and rewriting the record books of modern coin collecting. And when we analyze why such a coin achieved this mind-bending price, we must consider both the physical characteristics of the errors and the cultural factors that surround coin collecting, because collectors are not just buying a piece of metal, they are buying a slice of history, a tangible artifact of human imperfection that escaped the tight controls of the U.S. Mint and somehow entered circulation against all odds, a mistake that should never have existed yet now stands as a symbol of rarity, fortune, and the thrilling possibility that treasures might still be hiding in plain sight. And the 2002 nickel embodies this perfectly, as its errors range from subtle doubled lettering to full off-center strikes, broad strikes where the coin expanded without a rim, and even wrong planchet strikes where nickels were mistakenly struck on blanks meant for dimes or pennies, creating underweight or mis-sized coins that are truly one of a kind. And collectors know that such dramatic minting anomalies not only make for fascinating conversation pieces but also cement the coin's position as a unique specimen worth unimaginable sums. And beyond the physical attributes of these coins lies the psychological thrill that drives collectors to pursue them. Because owning the 2002 nickel with its legendary errors is like holding lightning in a bottle, a miracle of chance and human error combined. And when word got out that one of these coins had crossed the $80 million threshold at auction, the entire coin collecting world was thrown into a frenzy, with enthusiasts scouring their stashes of nickels, flipping through coin rolls, and examining every faint detail with magnifying glasses in the desperate hope of finding the next multi-million-dollar specimen. And this hysteria was fueled by the growing recognition that the U.S. Mint in the early 2000s was experimenting with new equipment, updating old presses, and at times struggling with quality control, which led to a higher-than-normal rate of errors slipping into circulation, and thus the 2002 nickel became a perfect storm of timing, technology, and collector demand, and it stands today as a golden, or rather nickel, opportunity for anyone lucky enough to stumble upon one of these rare error coins in their pocket change, and the sheer idea that a humble 5-cent piece could be worth more than luxurious mansions, rare works of art, or even private islands makes the story irresistible not just to numismatists but to the general public as well, because who wouldn't want to dream that the next coin they find could be worth life-changing money, and this dream is what keeps the legend of the 2002 5-cent coin alive, spreading across YouTube, TikTok, news outlets, and collector magazines as one of the most astounding tales of modern currency, and as more people learn about the varieties of errors such as double dies, off-centers, clipped planchets, and wrong metal strikes, the excitement continues to build with each story of someone discovering a valuable coin and selling it for a fortune, and while only a handful will ever reach the mythical $86 million value, the truth is that even minor error nickels from 2002 can sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on condition and rarity, making it an attractive and thrilling hobby for anyone who wants to test their luck. And so the saga of the 2002 5-cent coin serves as both a cautionary tale of minting mistakes and a beacon of hope for treasure seekers everywhere, proving that fortune can sometimes be found in the most unexpected places. So keep your eyes sharp, your change jar close, and your dreams alive, because you never know when you might stumble upon the next record-breaking coin and change your life forever with just a humble nickel. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Next 1994 5-cent USA coin, everyone, and get ready for an incredible deep dive into one of the most fascinating and surprising stories in modern numismatics, because today we are exploring the 1994 5-cent coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and investors alike by reaching an unbelievable valuation of $85 million due to the extraordinary combination of minting errors, striking mistakes, rare anomalies, and the endless possibilities that surround why such a small piece of metal that originally held just a 5-cent face value could now be considered one of the most valuable treasures in the world of coins. And as we unpack this jaw-dropping story, we will go step by step through the details of what makes the 1994 Jefferson nickel not just a coin but a living historical artifact that encapsulates human error, machine precision, government oversight, and collector obsession, all blended together into a single small disc of copper and nickel alloy that has transcended its original role as pocket change and become a multi-million-dollar centerpiece of fascination. So let's start by thinking about what makes a coin like this so rare, because the United States Mint in Philadelphia in 1994 produced millions upon millions of nickels, and most of them looked ordinary, circulated through the economy, jingled in the pockets of millions of Americans, and eventually wore down from use. But every now and then the minting process delivers a spectacular mistake: a misalignment, a doubling of the die, a planchet struck with another design, an off-center strike, a clipped planchet, a wrong alloy, a mule pairing, or even a combination of these factors that instantly transforms an ordinary 5-cent piece into something that transcends money and becomes priceless. And in the case of the 1994 nickel, there are documented cases of double dies where the details of Jefferson's portrait appear with a ghost-like second image slightly shifted from the first, which creates a visual doubling that any trained eye can immediately spot. And these kinds of double die errors are already worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on clarity and rarity. But imagine when combined with additional striking errors that occurred simultaneously, such as a misaligned die causing the entire portrait of Jefferson to be shifted towards the rim, so part of the lettering actually bleeds off the edge of the coin while other sections of the rim are unusually wide and thick, creating what collectors refer to as a broad strike effect. And if that was not enough evidence of strangeness, some of the known surviving examples of the 1994 nickel also show unusual metal composition issues, suggesting that planchets meant for other denominations may have been accidentally used, meaning a nickel could have been struck on a copper penny planchet or even on a dime planchet of a different metallic ratio, which creates not only weight differences but also a unique look when compared side by side with normal nickels, and this immediately catapults value into astronomical territory because such wrong planchet strikes are among the rarest and most sought after in numismatics. But the story does not stop here because the particular coin that has reached the unbelievable $85 million valuation combines multiple anomalies at once. It is believed to have been struck with a double die obverse, a rotated reverse, and potentially even on a transitional planchet that was not intended for circulation at all, and this level of error stacking makes it virtually unique in the world, with no other example known to exist, which explains why wealthy collectors and investors with almost unlimited resources would compete ferociously at auction to secure ownership of this single coin, pushing the price higher and higher until it reached that headline-making figure. And when we reflect on why people are willing to pay such sums, it becomes clear that beyond the metal, beyond the mint mark, beyond the date, this coin symbolizes the possibility of perfection through imperfection, the chance alignment of rare circumstances that will never again be repeated in the exact same way, and so the coin becomes a time capsule of error, a frozen accident preserved forever in nickel and copper, telling a story that no history book can narrate because it is tangible, it can be held, it can be examined under magnification, and every flaw tells a different chapter of the minting process gone wrong. Now think about how hard it is to actually discover such coins, because millions of nickels flow into circulation unnoticed and the average person might never even look closely at one, so the chances that an ordinary collector found and preserved this example before it was lost to circulation forever are already astronomically slim, which adds to the mythology of its survival. And when that survival is combined with documented authenticity, verified by the most prestigious grading services in the world such as PCGS or NGC, suddenly what looks like a small coin becomes a verified multi-million-dollar artifact that can command the attention of museums, private investors, and high-end auction houses alike. But what's fascinating is the ripple effect this creates across the collector community, because once a story like the 1994 nickel worth $85 million enters headlines, suddenly everyone rushes to check their change jars, their dresser drawers, their forgotten rolls of coins from the bank, hoping that maybe lightning will strike twice and they too might uncover a rare double die or off-metal strike that could change their financial destiny overnight. And this frenzy only adds to the cultural value of the coin because it becomes a legend not just among numismatists but among the general public, sparking conversations, inspiring searches, and keeping the dream alive that a simple nickel could hold the key to unimaginable fortune. But of course the reality is that most 1994 nickels are ordinary and will never be worth more than face value unless in pristine mint state condition, which still might only bring a few dollars, but the extraordinary few with errors keep the hope alive, and in the case of the one extraordinary survivor valued at $85 million, it continues to spark speculation that maybe more error examples are hidden out there undiscovered, creating endless debate in forums, coin clubs, and collector gatherings about what else could exist, whether other transitional planchet strikes from the same year might someday surface, or whether the unique combination of errors on the known example truly makes it one of one. And if that is the case, then its valuation is justified because uniqueness in the world of collectibles is priceless, meaning that no amount of money can easily define its worth because its true value is whatever the world's most passionate collector is willing to pay. And so when you step back and consider how a simple accident at the mint could ripple through history to produce an object worth $85 million, it becomes a testament to human fascination with rarity, error, and beauty, showing us that sometimes it is the imperfections that carry the greatest worth. And so this 1994 nickel remains not just a coin but a story, a legend, and a reminder that hidden treasures are still out there waiting to be found and continuing this fascinating journey into the legacy of the 1994 5-cent coin valued at $85 million. We must dig even deeper into the world of minting technology, collector psychology, historical context, and the chain of circumstances that could have allowed such a masterpiece of error to exist, because when we peel back the layers of how the United States Mint operates, we understand that while its goal is to produce billions of coins with uniform accuracy, the sheer scale of operations makes tiny mistakes not only possible but inevitable, and those mistakes, when caught early, are typically destroyed, yet every so often one or two slip through, and in the case of this legendary 1994 nickel, that slip through was more than just a simple oversight, it was a perfect storm of errors that coalesced into one of the rarest specimens in American coinage. And what's remarkable is that the Philadelphia Mint in the early 1990s was transitioning with new technologies, updating dies, adjusting striking pressures, and experimenting with different alloys to improve durability, and this was also a period when planchette preparation occasionally experienced inconsistencies, which collectors believe may have been the root cause behind this anomaly, because the coin does not only show clear doubling but also striking irregularities that indicate multiple hits from dies that were misaligned, rotated, or improperly set. And that combination alone would have created a collector's dream, but when you add the possibility that the coin may have been struck on an experimental or incorrect planchette, suddenly it moves beyond dream into the realm of numismatic legend, and legends always come with speculation, because while grading services confirm the authenticity of the errors, historians and collectors endlessly debate the backstory, asking how did this coin survive without being caught, who first discovered it? Was it pulled from circulation by chance? Was it held secretly for decades before surfacing? Or was it always in the hands of someone who recognized its uniqueness from the beginning? And those unanswered questions only add fuel to its mystique, because part of what makes collectibles so valuable. Last 2015 P5 USA coin, everyone to today's fascinating deep dive where we uncover the incredible story behind one of the most surprising and shocking discoveries in the world of numismatics, the world where tiny pieces of metal can suddenly transform into objects worth life-changing sums of money. And in this case we are talking about the 2015 P5 coin, a nickel that has stunned collectors, historians, and everyday treasure hunters with its unimaginable value of $84 million. A value driven not by the face of the coin but by the extraordinary combination of errors, minting mistakes, rarity, historical context, and the boundless possibilities that accompany such a piece. And as we walk through this story together, you will see why something as simple and overlooked as a nickel you might find in your change could actually turn out to be worth more than most people will ever earn in a lifetime. Because this coin is not just a piece of pocket change but an artifact of minting anomalies, a reflection of chance and accident, and a beacon for those who dream of finding fortune in the most unexpected of places. So let us peel back the layers and examine how a 2015 P5 coin could ever reach a value of $84 million, a number that sounds like a myth until you realize the profound role that errors and mistakes play in numismatic history. Beginning with the fact that errors are not just accidents but unique events, every single mistake struck on a coin transforms it into a one-of-a-kind piece, no other exactly like it, and that exclusivity drives demand to astronomical heights. So when we look closely at this legendary 2015 P nickel we begin to notice a fascinating series of anomalies, starting with the double die obverse that some specimens exhibit, where the profile of Thomas Jefferson shows ghostly outlines of his face, lips, eye, and lettering around the rim appearing twice, slightly shifted, as though the coin carries a shadow of itself. And collectors go wild for double dies, especially when they are as dramatic as this one, because such an error is never intentional, it is purely the result of misalignment in the hubbing process during die creation, and in the case of the 2015 P nickel the doubling is pronounced enough to be spotted even with the naked eye, making it accessible to the average finder. But that's only the beginning, because alongside this double die comes the discovery of planchette errors. Where the metal blank used to strike the coin was flawed, some showing laminations peeling away, creating odd textures and breaks in the surface, others struck on undersized or off-metal planches such as experimental alloy tests that were never supposed to leave the mint, and when a nickel is struck on the wrong type of planchette the value can skyrocket because such coins are rarer than even most proof issues. And in this case several rumors suggest that certain 2015 P nickels were accidentally struck on leftover planches intended for foreign contracts or even on copper-based blanks that were being tested for composition adjustments, which instantly multiplies their allure. And beyond that, we have alignment strikes where the obverse and reverse are rotated relative to each other, meaning when you flip the coin top to bottom the designs are skewed at odd angles, making it a major mint error. Then there are broad strikes where the coin expands beyond its normal rim because it was struck without the collar that usually contains it, producing a stretched and oversized nickel that looks alien compared to the standard issue. And error collectors chase broad strikes feverishly, but the fascination with this 2015 P nickel extends even further because of the sheer number of die cracks and cuds that have been recorded, die cracks being raised lines across the coin caused by fractures in the die itself, and cuds being blobs of missing design where a piece of the die broke off entirely, leaving blank raised areas of metal on the finished coin, and each cud is unique, almost like a fingerprint, meaning no two are exactly the same. And when a coin exhibits a combination of multiple error types, say a double die with a dramatic cud and a rotated reverse, it becomes a once-in-history piece whose price can climb into untouchable territory, which is exactly how this 2015 P-nickel managed to climb to an $84 million valuation, with collectors seeing it as the pinnacle of modern mint errors, a showcase of everything that could go wrong in production all happening on one small piece of metal. But the story doesn't stop there, because when we think about value we must also consider rarity, and in the grand ocean of coins minted in 2015 at Philadelphia, only a tiny handful of these anomalous nickels ever slipped through into circulation, and as is often the case with great rarities, some were lost, destroyed, or tucked away unknowingly in jars and drawers, leaving only one or two pristine specimens verified. And that is what drives the competitive frenzy at auctions, where billionaires and elite collectors clash to claim ownership of a coin that is not only rare but legendary. And it's this rivalry that pushes prices higher, far beyond reason, until we reach numbers like $84 million, sums that might sound insane but are entirely logical when viewed through the lens of demand, prestige, and the desire to own the unattainable. And when we broaden our perspective to the possibilities that exist in coin collecting, this 2015 P-nickel is more than just a story of errors. It is a reminder that valuable treasures are hiding everywhere, in cash registers, vending machines, piggy banks, and coin rolls waiting to be searched, and anyone could stumble upon a fortune if luck strikes, which is why treasure hunting has become such a passionate pursuit for so many, with people scouring rolls of nickels from banks, hoping to find even a faint error. Because while not every 2015 P-nickel is worth millions, certain ones with dramatic errors certainly are, and the possibilities continue to grow when we think about how mints experiment with new processes, how mistakes slip past inspection, how misstrikes evade destruction, and how collectors fuel a market that rewards imperfection with unimaginable sums. So when we say that a simple 2015 P5-cent coin is worth $84 million, we are not simply talking about metal, we are talking about history, rarity, uniqueness, human error, the thrill of discovery, and the intense passion that transforms an ordinary nickel into a global headline. And if you reflect on this story, you will realize that every coin in your pocket has a potential story too, and while the odds of finding one this valuable are slim, they are not zero, which is why people never stop searching, never stop hoping, and never stop dreaming that one day they too might hold in their hand a small round piece of history capable of changing their life forever. Absolutely. Let's continue seamlessly from where we left off and expand the story further into an even deeper exploration of the 2015 P-nickel and why this coin could rise to a staggering valuation of $84 million. Because while we have already covered doubling, cuds, planchet anomalies, and striking errors, the world of numismatic intrigue does not end there. In fact, every new layer reveals a greater sense of wonder and possibility. And when we take the time to examine not only the technical errors but also the human stories, the auction battles, the myths, and the cultural weight surrounding a coin like this, it begins to make sense why wealthy collectors, museums, and institutions are willing to pay such astronomical sums. For instance, let us consider the minting environment of 2015 itself. A year that saw vast production of nickels at the Philadelphia Mint with billions produced, and yet in the midst of this mass production the machinery was under constant stress, dies wore out faster, presses struck millions of coins before being replaced, and in such a setting errors were inevitable. But what makes the 2015 P-nickel different is that multiple error types converged, creating coins that display not just one anomaly but a cascade of them, a double die paired with a broad strike, a lamination flaw combined with die cracks, or even a tilted die strike resulting in uneven pressure that leaves weak areas in the design. And this convergence is what collectors dream of, because while a single error can be valuable, a combination becomes legendary, pushing its significance into the realm of myth. And now imagine a collector stumbling across such a coin by chance, perhaps while searching through a roll of bank-wrapped nickels, the excitement of realizing that Jefferson's portrait looks slightly doubled, then noticing the reverse Monticello appears rotated, then discovering raised die cracks branching like lightning across the fields, and finally recognizing a massive cud that obliterates part of the lettering. And that exact thrill is what fuels stories of overnight millionaires, everyday people who transform their lives because they were observant enough to notice the mistakes others overlooked. But beyond the technical and personal stories lies the world of auctions, and this is where things get even more fascinating, because when a coin like the 2015 P-nickel with spectacular errors appears on the block, it is not just numismatists who gather, but also investors, art collectors,